Hello, good morning, students. So, we shall continue with the same chapter, that is input output streams in C++. So, yesterday I discussed about the cout and cin operator. Okay, we saw some examples. So, if you have the textbook, okay, just go over through the examples in the textbook. Okay, from there you can easily understand. And since you have diagrams also, okay, so with these diagrams you can easily understand what is the cout and cin. Just remember that the cout and cin, okay, is your standard output and input streams. C++ on its own does not have any commands. Okay, so the cout and cin, okay, the operators, along with the overload operator, that is the insertion and extraction operator. Okay, so whatever source file is written here, so this is called as a source file. Okay, a C++ program that is typed, okay, is called as a source code or source file. So this source file, okay, in here, if you have any cout or cin uh, syntax, okay, so that will be processed. So the cout means that, okay, uh, directly it will communicate with the output devices, and cin means directly it will accept from the input devices. Okay, so that is how cout and cin operator process. Okay, so we have seen some examples along with that. Okay, yesterday also we discussed about the cascading input output operators. Okay, so cascading was you have seen that cascading can be used for both cout and cin operators also. Okay, so what is the advantage of that? Okay, so instead of writing 2-3 lines of code, okay, using the cascading operator, okay, the cout operator can display 2-3 datas at the same time. Okay, or the cin can also accept 2-3 datas and store it in the variables at the same time. Okay, now keep in mind that without a variable, okay, the compiler will not allocate any memory for the program. Okay, so that is why it's very important that you understand the concept of data types and then the variables. Okay, because all these data types, variables, and all what is cout cin will be used in all the programs, in all the C++ programs. Okay, so just once again, okay, so if you want to output or input data for 2 or more variables, then either we use separate statements or we can cascade operators. Okay, so using the overload operators, that is the insertion and extraction operator. Okay, so in the case of cin, this is called as the extraction operator. Okay, in your textbook it is mentioned as insertion operator, but this is extraction operator and this is insertion operator. Okay, so okay, always keep in mind that for cout, okay, the direction, follow direction of the arrow. Okay, so that means whatever value is stored in the variable, okay, that the overload operator will take that value which is stored in that variable and proceed it to the output device, that is the cout. Okay, so it will be in the form of a monitor or printer. And in the case of cin, okay, whatever you type in from the keyboard, the cin operator will accept that, okay, will catch that, and then using the extraction overload operator, okay, it will direct it and store it in the variable. Okay, so we have already seen this example, right? So like here the variables here are num1 and num2. Okay, so keep in mind these variable names are user defined. As you can see in this variable, okay, it is written here num1, okay, num1 and num2. So you can see alphabets and digits also, right? It is possible. Okay, only thing is that in a variable the name should always starts with an alphabet, or it can start with underscore also, but most preferably you use alphabets. Okay, it can never start with digits. Okay, so you cannot write here one num. Okay, that is unacceptable, but you can write here num underscore one, okay, or num1 underscore, and so on. Okay, and where the variable name should be as short as precise, okay, and meaningful. Suppose if it is a sum of 2 numbers, okay, so you can write here like sum1 sum2, like that. Okay, so since they are of both that integer data types, this num1 and num2, they are integer data types. Okay, that means this is integer data type, that means these variables are stores integer values. So integer values are in the sense that whole numbers, positive numbers, negative numbers, and so on, but not fractional numbers. Okay, so that's why we get the value 100, 200. So these are integer values. Okay, so using the equal to symbol, okay, which is the assignment operator, okay, which you will learn later on in the next chapters. Okay, what happens is actually you are assigning this 100 to this variable, okay, from right to left. So you are assigning this 100 to the variable num1. Okay, so until and unless you declare this data type, okay, okay, so if you don't write down this data type in, you will not know what value to store in this variable. Okay, so once the variable gets declared and assigned, okay, so this is you are declaring the variable, at the same time you are assigning the values to the variable. Okay, so what happens is that this is called as initialization of variable. Okay, so this is initialization of variable. Now here, using the cout, you can see that you are using cascading operators. The insertion operator is being used here, here, and here. So you can see multiple use of the cascading operator. So otherwise, if you don't use this cascading operator, what will happen is that you can write down like this also, cout, okay, and then the two numbers are, okay, within with enclosed within this double quotes. So in anything that is enclosed within this double quotes is a string. That is, the two numbers are, this is a string, a combination of characters, right? So the compiler ignores whatever is written within these double quotes. Okay, that means, as in the sense, ignoring the sense like it will simply print out whatever is written here within the double quotes. Okay, so this string sentence will be transferred by the overload operator to the cout operator, that is the monitor. Okay, so if you don't use this cascading operator, you can also write down in the next line cout, okay, and this overload operator, and then num1 semicolon, and in the next line cout num2 semicolon, and the next line cout, and use this escape sequence character /n semicolon. Okay, but you can see that you can reduce the length of the program by using these cascading operators. So instead of writing down one line, two line, three line, four line, in one line you're completing the whole statements. Okay, so keep in mind that a program should be as efficient, as short as possible, okay, to reduce the complexity of the program as far as possible. Okay, so we in real life program, we try to minimize the length of the program as far as possible. Okay, so by using this kind of shortcuts uh, operators. Okay, so here, as you can see, whatever value stored in num1 will be directed. Okay, that means it will, the compiler will force that this variable to display that value, and whatever value is stored in this variable, that's why this variable name is mentioned here in the cout operator line. Okay, so once when you write down this variable name here, okay, so what will happen is that the cout will display it on the monitor screen. Okay, so this is how you use a cout operator. Now in case if suppose this 100 and 200 is not mentioned, is not assigned to these two variables, let's say you have just declared int num1 comma num2, so you're using the comma operator to separate these two variables. Okay, so you can write down like int num1 comma num2 semicolon. Okay, so using the comma operator, since they are both of the same data type, you can declare in one line. Okay, so if you just declare int num1 comma num2, okay, without assigning any value, and then you run the cout command, but you in the program you have not initialized these num1 and num2 variables. You have just declared it. You have just declared int num1 comma num2. You have not assigned any values to this variable. At the same time, in the program, you have not entered any value using the C input stream. Right? In that case, what will happen? In that case, what will happen is cout will display the values of num1 and num2, but a random number, or that is called as a garbage value. Okay, which is unwanted values uh, is given out. So in that case, the two garbage values will be integer values because the data type is integer, right? So it can be any random integer numbers. Okay, why? Because C out operator is forcing the variable, or the compiler is forcing the variable, okay, to display it, okay. And since you have only declared the variables and not assigned any values, okay, so that's why a random number will be generated, okay. So that is unacceptable. That's why the variables must be initialized, or it must be assigned a value in the program itself using the C input stream, okay, or using the assignment operator equal to. Now in the case of cin also, you can see that you can use the cascading operator, okay, to enter the value. So here you are seeing that you are declaring two variables, okay, num1 comma num2. So you can see that you are using the comma operator here, because uh, these are this num1 and num2 belongs to the data type integer, okay. So instead of that, you can also write int num1 semicolon, and in the next line you can write int num2 semicolon, which is same, but we are trying to shorten the program as far as possible, right? So if it is possible, then we can just use the comma operator and then write down here in the same line, okay. Now if suppose num2 is a different data type, that is a float, okay. Now float is a decimal point value, right? In that case, you cannot write int num1 comma num2. In that case, what you have to do is that since num2 stores decimal point value, so you have to write int num1 semicolon, and in the next line float num2 semicolon, okay. So using the cascading operator, whatever values enter from the keyboard, the overload operator will directly store it in num1 variable and num2 variable, okay. Now so now next is your escape sequence character, okay. So this is another special characters, okay. So this escape sequence characters, mostly they are also ignored by the compiler, and they are printed out as it is. I mean, they have a specific function, okay. So this is mostly accompanied with a slash, okay, slash character, and then the alphabetical or some special symbols that are used, okay. Like the ones you have already encountered is this slash n, which is called as new line, okay. So what it does is that, okay, when you use the slash n, okay, it generates the next output on the next line, or a new line is generated, okay, in the C output stream. So just go through this escape sequence characters, okay. Now this, when you use this escape sequence character in the C out, okay, then it will take in 1 byte of memory, okay. So here you can see that slash r slash t slash v, okay. So all of these things are used, okay, single quote, double quote, like that. So now the use of comma operator as a separator is not permitted with cin object, okay. Now you cannot use this comma operator in the cin operator. It is not possible, because it can read only non-white space characters. So with the cin operator, you cannot use this comma operator. If you want to make a distinction between one word, one variable, and another variable, okay, you can use the cascading operators like this, okay. You use the cascading operators to separate this variable from this variable. You cannot use this comma operator in cin. It is not possible. Neither can you use it in cout also, okay. So that's why this cascading operators is used to differentiate between these variables and these variables, okay, and to store the values here to here, okay. Now in the case of this one, yes, the operator, okay, that is, the extraction operator cannot read multi-word strings, as these strings use embedded space characters, which operators will interpret as value terminating characters. Now, in cout, you can display the string words, the two numbers are, but in cin, you cannot write down anything within this double quote, okay, because the cin is your standard input stream, okay. Now when you have used this cin in operators, okay, you can only use the variable names, because the cin is for what? You're inputting the values, you're inputting the data, right? So when you're inputting data, where should this be stored? In a variable, right? Okay, so that's why you use these variable names. You cannot use these string characters, okay, within this double quotes. You cannot write down, or you can use it only within the C output stream, Okay, because the C output stream is to display the data stored in the variables, or maybe like a sentence. Okay, so which is used within these double quotes. Okay, so if you can see in this if you see your textbook, okay, so here you can see that the example where you use the slash n. So here C out, okay, C out using the insertion operator Sunil. As you can see that Sunil is a string, okay, as a name, so it is enclosed within double quotes. Now if you don't use this double quotes, okay, it will generate an error, because the compiler will not understand what is Sunil, because Sunil is a user defined word and it is not a predefined keyword. Okay, if it was a predefined keyword, okay, then yes, but since this is not a predefined keyword, okay, so it has no sense, it makes no sense, so that's why it has to be enclosed within double quotes. And then you can use the you use the cascading operator, okay, along with that the escape sequence characters enclosed within double quotes. Okay, because this is a character, right? So that's why it is enclosed within double quotes. And then Varma, okay, so this is a string. So as you can see that when you use this slash n, so the output is Sunil comes out, okay, it is displayed, and then Verma is displayed on the next line. Okay, Verma is displayed on the next line. That is because you use this slash n, the new line forms it. Okay, so if you don't use this slash n, Sunil Verma will come on the same line. Okay, now it is in case of this slash n, okay, it is not necessary that you should use this cascading operator. This is just an example. Even if you don't use this cascading operator here, this less than, okay, and this less than, if you just include this double quote here and this double quote, you end it here, and in between that Sunil slash n Verma, okay, then also the output will be Sunil Verma will come out in the like this format. Okay, but this is just to make you students understand how we use these cascading operators and how we use these escape sequence characters. Okay, now come back to see. So definition is combination of characters preceded by a code extension character is called as escape characters. Okay, so include slash n in a cout if you want to skip to the next line, okay, to the next line. So an escape sequence actually represents a single character. So like I've mentioned, okay, it represents a single character. Okay, so now basic structure of C++ program. So this is a structure of how we create a C++ program. Okay, so every programmers follow this step-by-step process of how to build the program. So once you see the programs, okay, you will see that all the programs, though they be different, they follow the same structure format. Okay, just like you have essay writing, right? You have the introduction part, you have the body, you have the conclusion, like that. You have letter writing like that, right? The format of writing a letter, formal, casual, is different, informal, formal, like that, right? So similarly, the format of writing a C++ program also is based on this one. Okay, so uh, we so just go through this condense. Okay, now you will see some of these in the later on programs, okay, like the include section contains hashtag include statements. Okay, this is called as a pound sign, okay, but for your understanding I'll just use the word the hashtag. Okay, and then we have the global variable declaration, which we will see in the function chapters. Okay, the function section, the main section. Okay, so this is the main section, is actually one of the most important functions. Okay, so just go through this structure of the C++ program, okay, and this format. And as you can see here, just come back to here. Okay, so this is how a program will look like. You have in here the hashtag include iostream.h. This is called as the header file. Okay, the preprocessor directives go here. So this is where you declare the preprocessor directive. Okay, the header file section. Okay, then you have the main function. Okay, so this within this opening bracket and closing braces, okay, that represents the body of this main function to be executed. Okay, a block of statement. It may be a single line statement, it may be a compound statement. Okay, so compound statement means when you have multiple statements to be executed, that is called as a compound statement. Okay, so the program logic will be executed in here. Okay, so this is how a C++ program will always be like. Okay, so now coming back to here, as you can see, the first program that is mentioned here. So following is a listing of a very simple C++ program, okay, demonstrating the first C++ program. So here you have a program. As you can see, this is a comments. Okay, so before that, let me just come back here. C++ comments. Okay, comment is a sequence of characters which improves the readability of a program. They can be inserted anywhere in the program. There are two types of comments: single line comment and multi-line comments. Okay, single line comments, okay, is represented by this double slash, and then multi-line comment is represented by this slash asterisk asterisk slash. As you can see that within this slash asterisk and asterisk slash, you can write any sentence. Okay, but this multi-line comments means that you can continue this sentence in the next line also. Okay, yeah, as you can see that this sentence is till this much, and then it is continuing in the next line statement also. So this is called as a multi-line comment. Okay, single line comment is like this one. Okay, you want to continue this sentence in the next line, you have to use another double slash. Okay, so this single line comment can be used anywhere within the program, inside the program also, but multi-line comment cannot be used in the program, inside the program, because it will interfere with the program line statement code. Okay, and then you will get incorrect data, or your program will not process. Okay, so what is comments? Now comments are actually useful for the programmers only. Okay, to improve the readability of the program. That means using these comments, okay, if another programmer or the same programmer, he sees the codes, the source code, okay, then he can understand that, okay, this is where you declare the header files, this is where this program is about sum of two numbers. Okay, because the comments are marked there like that. Okay, so this helps the programmers to understand what the program is about, line by line. Okay, so these comments are actually ignored by the compiler, so it will be only present in the source code. So when you actually run the program, okay, and it is gets displayed on the monitor screen, okay, when you run the program, the comments is not printed out at all, the comments is not visible. So the compiler totally ignores the comments, provided the comments are written very nicely. Okay, so as you can see here, okay, as you can see here, this is the multi-line comment. Okay, so you can use the multi-line comment also, provided it is in only one line. But if you write down, if you continue this in the next line and there is a program statement, okay, which will clash with this comment line, then in that case you will get an error. So for that you can use the single line comment, that is the double slash, this one. Okay, so just go through these contents, okay, context, and then try to understand what is a multi-line comment and single line comment. Okay, so compiler ignores the contents of a comment. Okay, so similarly here in this program you can see that the first C++ program, this one is the comments, single line comment, single line comment. Now usually at the beginning of this program you can use the multi-line comment. Okay, you can use this multi-line comment, suppose like slash asterisk, okay, and you can end it here with asterisk slash, so you can continue this sentence here and here also. Okay, as you can see, you cannot use this multi-line comment here. If you use the multi-line comment here and you end it here, you can see that this is a program code statement and this is program code statement, so the comments will become a part of this, which is unacceptable. Okay, so for that you are using this single line comment. See here, double slash, and then indicates that program ended successfully. Okay, so here a program always starts with this hashtag include iostream.h. Okay, so what is this hashtag include iostream.h? So now this hashtag, which is explained in the next page, okay, this is the preprocessor directive. Okay, I'll just use the word hashtag. Okay, this preprocessor directive tells the C++ processor, okay, to include this iostream.h, that is input output stream, okay, dot header file. Dot h stands for header file, so this is the extension. Okay, that means this is the file name, iostream, this is the file name, and this is the extension. Okay, we have like image files, right? Image1.jpg, like image1.jpg or image1.bmb. So that tells the image that this image is .png format, or if you have mb4 or mb3, so you have that extension. So similarly here also, this .h tells that this file is a header file. Okay, and header file will always be written at the beginning of the top of the C++ program before the main functions starts. Okay, so this tells the C++ preprocessor, the processor, okay, to include this IOStream file from the hashtag include library. Okay, so this is the include library file. Okay, so you can, it's written here. Okay, see, uh yeah, the preprocessed directive hashtag include tells the compiler to insert another file into the source file. Okay, so here that the compiler should begin searching for these files in the standard include directory. Okay, so I'll just explain this topic also in from this example only. Okay, so from the include directory, okay, or you can think of it as a folder. Okay, where in this folder, okay, where all these types of header files are stored. So IO means input output. So when you have this input output stream, you just remember at the beginning I mentioned about cout and cin. Cout and cin is called as standard output stream, input stream, right? So you think that the output, so input output, okay, so cin, cout. So the detailed explanation, the definitions of that cout and cin is explained in here. So before the program actually starts, the compiler goes through this header file. Okay, so the compiler goes through this header file, and then from there it gets an idea or definition about what is cout. Otherwise, if you do not write down this iostream.h, this line, okay, the compiler will not recognize what is cout and what is cin. Okay, so that header file is very important. Before the program actually starts, the compiler goes through this header file. That means the program, before the program compiles. Okay, so this is called as a source file or source code. Okay, so here you can see that int main. Now you may write down int main, you may write down void main. Okay, this means that the main function is returning an integer value. Okay, return type is integer. Void main means the main function does not return any value, okay, or does not accept any value. Okay, so how do you know this is a function? Because it is represented by this parenthesis, okay, this curve bracket. So in every program, C++ program, you will find this main function, and within this main function you will find this opening braces and closing braces, and whatever is written within this opening and closing braces, it belongs to the main function body to be executed. So the compiler, when the program starts, it will always start execution from the main function. The program will start from here.